Hi, Eric. Thanks for joining us today. Before we dive in, I would love it if you could just introduce yourself and your role at Britannica.
I'm Erik Gregersen. I'm the senior editor for Astronomy and Space Exploration at Britannica, and that means having charge of all that material as it appears online.
I was going to say this had to be a pretty exciting event for you. This was the first launch since 2011 where we sent U.S. astronauts into orbit on a U.S. vehicle.
Correct.
This was also the first time that U.S. vehicle was made by a commercial company, in this case being SpaceX. My first question is simply, why now?
America's been putting people into space since the 60s. So this whole thing of actually launching people to Earth orbit, the idea of this commercial crew program was that would be done by private companies. A private company should be able to figure out how to do that now. And that's what happened. The commercial crew program started in the early 2010s. Now, a few years after that, they finally got it. And actually, so SpaceX started this year. They're going to do, and this was a test of the spacecraft. So it's called Demo 2. So they just sent 2 astronauts this time. Around August, they're thinking August, they're going to send the actual operational mission with 4 astronauts to the space station. And next year, the other participant in the commercial crew program, Boeing, will launch its Starliner spacecraft to the space station. So they're going to alternate between these two systems, Dragon and Starliner. And that's how astronauts will get from America to the space station. And the Russians will continue to use their Soyuz spacecraft.
So what is the goal of this mission? And the mission's called Dragon Demo 2, right?
Yes.
So yeah, Dragon is because I was hearing a lot of terms. The Falcon 9 is the rocket that shot the crew up to space. And then the shuttle that they're in, or the capsule, and the crew is referred to as Dragon, and it's Demo 2, right?
Yeah, they had a Demo 1 mission earlier where they just launched the capsule itself with, I believe, a mannequin in it, and just to test out the systems. Now they're doing a further test with actual astronauts in it, Demo 2, where they're just sending the 2 astronauts up to the space station. And the idea being they're going to see how the Crew Dragon works with the space station, how it works with astronauts on board. They kind of have left it up in the air how long they think they're going to have those 2 guys up there testing it out. But the idea seems to be it's dependent on how long the Crew 1 will come. And that seems like they're aiming for the end of August for that. So sometime, this summer, they'll decide, okay, you guys have done enough and you can come back down. But it is Demo 2 because it is the actual first flight with humans in it. So they need to test out how the systems work.
Right. And I thought that was really interesting because it was great that it was a successful launch, but it's still kind of in testing phase. I learned that the shuttle really can fly itself to a point, but they also want the astronauts to kind of take over manual control. And part of this is actually testing it live as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of it is designed to work autonomously, where they could just lean back and watch things happen. But they also did do a bit of manual control, moving the spacecraft around, stopping it. So they have been doing some of that, because at some point, what if the autonomous systems fail? The astronauts will need to actually fly the thing,
right?
And so they're going to be testing that out, and they did some of that on the approach to the space station this weekend.
So as I was watching the coverage, which I thought was really great on the NASA stream and the SpaceX stream, once they docked with the space station, I heard both Houston and SpaceX say, "Congratulations, we're going into a new era of space travel, a new era of space transportation." What does that actually mean, this new era that we're about to go into?
Well, the new era means that sending humans to space isn't now the exclusive province of governments anymore, and that now commercial companies are going to do it. The idea that space travel is going to have to become much more widespread, and this is probably the beginning point of that. That if this whole project just ends with, SpaceX will just act as Uncle Sam's taxi service, then it would be an ultimate failure. However, SpaceX, they say themselves, I mean, their ambition is that humanity becomes a multiplanetary species, which is really gigantic.
I read on their website they wanted to make getting to space more affordable. And with the Falcon 9, I think a lot of people are mesmerized by the fact that it can fly itself back from space and land. It's really amazing to see that, but it's not just for the wildness factor. It's actually because then they get to reuse that rocket. Hence,
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's what makes all of this, down the line and in the future, hopefully makes this all more affordable versus in the past where the rocket would just fall into the ocean and you had to build a whole new one.
Yeah, the rocket would burn up in the Earth's atmosphere, and that would be it. But the bringing the rocket back has driven the cost way down, and they're able to use it several times. I suspect that the government wouldn't have been as interested in having a new company like SpaceX just do the same old thing with an old unreusable rocket.
Right, and that's SpaceX's goal, and I understand the private companies getting involved. But can you speak a little bit on maybe what NASA's goals are for the next 30, 50, 100 years? Is the goal, I did read that, one of the next missions they want to be is to get to the moon again. Is one of the ideas is to get to the moon and get situated there so that then we can really do that mission to Mars?
In the immediate term, the idea being astronauts on the moon in 2024. And then Mars is still kind of up in the air, but maybe in the 2030s sometime. But the idea being with the moon is astronauts would get experience living on another body for long periods of time, and then you could maybe you could even launch the rocket to Mars from the moon and things, work on it up there.
Right.
In space rather than on Earth and have to lift it out of Earth's gravity. So there are some advantages to being on the moon first, and plus the whole thing, like if astronauts get in trouble with the moon, they're 2 days away as opposed to being several months away on the other side of the solar system. That's sort of the NASA's long-term plan. Moon, then Mars. And I don't know what would be after Mars. I guess maybe the asteroid belt or something.
Well, Erik, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. I hope you and I can have a couple more conversations because I have plenty more questions to ask, and we'll be able to keep following this mission and then, the next mission that you had mentioned in August. So just thanks again, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Okay, looking forward to it. Thanks.